we'll hear next a recorded session from Shima Seiki, so Maya Yamaguchi. Will be narrating that, and if you haven't seen what Shima Seiki can offer in this world, you definitely should take a look at this because knit is something that's quite difficult to achieve in 3D, and Shima Seiki is one of the only solutions out there that covers this. So please do stay tuned for that, and then obviously I'm really excited to see what Darrell has to offer coming up from Browse with us. There's a lot of new great stuff in the current version of V-Stitcher, and she'll be taking us through all of that. So, Brooke, go ahead and take us forward, and look forward to seeing what Shima Seiki has to cover.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here today at 3D Tech Festival Day 2. I'm Maya Yamaguchi, Sustainable Technology Specialist at SHIMA SEIKI, U.S.A. Today I would like to introduce our software, APEXFiz, showcasing how it revolutionizes fabric material creation and knitwear modeling for end-to-end DPC, digital product creation, and I also would like to introduce new features of software version V04 released in July. APEXFiz is a software that can create digital fabrics for 3D virtual sampling. As you can see, fabric can be created from scratch by setting up stripes, structures, and so on, and can be woven digitally with scanned actual yarns. And surprisingly, texture maps such as normal maps and displacement maps are generated at the same time, so they can be imported and used in any 3D software programs. As for the physical properties, with our wonderful partners SETI and Frontiers Technology, the AI will generate physical property files for the digital fabrics automatically. Conventionally, to prepare digital fabrics for 3D virtual sampling, you first need to procure actual fabrics. Then, scan them to get texture maps and test to identify physical properties by using a special equipment. When it comes to APEXFiz, on the contrary, you can infinitely create digital fabrics including texture maps and physical properties without having to procure actual fabrics. In addition, the fabric creation on APEXFiz is not only for the visual representation, but also for production. While creating the digital fabric on APEXFiz, a tech pack for production is generated simultaneously. Therefore, once the fabric design is confirmed, you can send that tech pack to the factory to start production. The types of fabrics that you can create using APEXFiz are wovens and circular knits. And towels can now be created as well, since the release of the latest software version. We are planning to support the creation of embroideries also in the near future, so please stay tuned for future updates. Furthermore, APEXFiz has the capability to not only create digital fabrics, but also to perform 3D virtual sampling. The main difference from other 3D software is that it can perform 3D virtual sampling specifically for knitted items. From here, I would like to showcase the entire workflow of the 3D virtual sampling, introducing some of the outstanding points of APEXFiz. The first step of 3D virtual sampling is pattern making to decide the silhouette of the product. On APEXFiz, you can create pattern pieces just by entering numerical values to the measurement table. The measurement table is one that's specialized for knitted items, and pattern pieces that considers knitted techniques are generated automatically. So even if designers that do not have deeper skills in knits can work on pattern making easily. In addition, after creating the base pattern, you can utilize a wide variety of pattern editing tools equipped in the software to add more details to enhance the silhouette. Another option for pattern making is to make edits to the 3D blocks already completed and shared on SHIMA Data Mall. For your information, SHIMA Data Mall is an online platform that allows users to search, browse, and purchase a variety of useful digital data. Once the pattern making is complete, the next step is to create knitting pattern design. When using general software, you have to work in 2D, but with APEXFiz, you can work in 3D. As you can see, structure patterns that are loaded from the library can be laid out by checking the position in the 3D window. It is hard to imagine the placement and the balance of the patterns in a flat condition. So it's a big advantage that you can evaluate the layout on the fitted garment. By the way, the numbers of knitting patterns stored in the library is more than 1,200 by default, but you can add more to the library by downloading from SHIMA Data Mall, where new patterns are being added on a daily basis. Here, let me introduce one of the latest and greatest features of APEXFiz. After arranging the structure patterns, if you update the fitting, the silhouette will change according to the structure patterns applied. This time, the area where the rib, purl, and moss stitches are used have shrunken. It is the proprietary technology of APEXFiz that can perform fitting that takes into account the characteristics of structure patterns. As I said before, this feature has been supported since the latest version. And as this is just the starting point, we will continue to improve the feature so that it can cover various types of structure patterns. Once the knitting pattern design is complete, we will set up scanned actual yarns to the 3D from the yarn library. By doing so, the texture of the yarns will be expressed when rendering. It is only APEXFiz in the world that can perform rendering based on the actual yarns. As for the yarn library, there are various types already stored by default, but you can enrich your library by adding yarn data downloaded from YarnBank. YarnBank is a platform that gathers yarn suppliers from around the world, and various yarn data have been shared there. After the yarn setup, now it's time for rendering. And please note that there are two different methods of rendering available on APEXFiz. One is our proprietary method, 3D loop simulation, and the other is the major method in the 3D tech industry, V-Ray rendering. As you can see, with the 3D loop simulation, every single stitch is expressed delicately, while the V-Ray rendering result shows more dynamic depth and shadow. For your information, in the case of V-Ray rendering, texture maps are generated and applied automatically in APEXFiz, capturing the shape of the yarns. 3D loop simulation and V-Ray rendering have different characteristics and advantages, so I would recommend to decide which method to use depending on the situation. Another major advantage of APEXFiz is that it can be connected directly to production after the rendering is complete and the design is confirmed. When the structure pattern design was created earlier, the codes you see here were generated simultaneously behind the scenes. The codes are to control the knitting machine, and by finishing the data in software for technicians, it can be used to knit the product. That means with APEXFiz, it is possible to not only create 3D as a visual, but also to achieve a complete DPC that leads to final production. This technology can only be realized by SHIMA SEIKI, a manufacturer of flat knitting machines. As I have introduced so far, APEXFiz is the only software in the industry that has two aspects: digital fabric creation and 3D knit virtual sampling. Even if you have already established a DPC workflow, APEXFiz will be the best solution for you if you are facing issues such as it takes time to procure fabrics to make digital fabrics for 3D, or I'm not satisfied with the quality of 3D in knitwear. Well, that's all for today's presentation, but we do offer individual demonstrations for those who are interested in APEXFiz. Details of the functions that I was not able to provide in this short presentation can be fully explained in the demonstration. If you would like a demonstration, please scan this QR code to access the application form. In addition, we regularly post on our official Instagram account, APEXFiz_official, to introduce features of APEXFiz. You can access it from the QR code shown here. The features introduced in this presentation can be found there, so please take a look. And while we couldn't show you all the details of the digital fabrics and 3D renderings on screen because of the online stream today, you can see the highest quality images with our Instagram post. Thank you everyone for watching my presentation. And now, let me hand it back to Joshua or anyone from the Alvanon team.
Thank you, Maya. It's almost like she was here, wasn't it? Great information about knitwear. I know that there's a lot of you out there who do work on knit sweaters, even socks, and those are product types which aren't readily handled by products like Clo and Braswear. And if Darrell disagrees with me, she can correct me. But so it's, you should definitely, if you are doing that kind of product and you are interested in that kind of product, you should definitely check out APEXFiz from SHIMA SEIKI.